beautiful KV diagram, and we want the D and F, the disjunctive normal form of the function y. Now this is a European version of a KV diagram. For the American one, I'll be making some other videos very soon. As you know, when looking for the disjunctive normal form from a KV diagram, you are looking to group ones in groups of 2, in groups of 4, in groups of 8, in groups of 16 even. But what happens when you have don't cares? Now here's the thing, if you can use a don't care and assume that it's 1 and group it with anyone, any other one, then it would actually be beneficial for the function. It would minimize it more. However, let's say you have an x somewhere that you cannot use, and if you assume that it's 1, you will just not group it with any actual one, and therefore not minimize the function, just get a term out of nowhere. Then that kind of thing we want to avoid. This will be clear as I explain the example. So let's see. Let's start right here with this one. This one looks isolated. However, if you check the other side, we can group it with this x right here. If we assume that this x is 1, then we can group them together and voila, the function will be, or this term right here will be minimized. So I'll be assuming that this one right here is a 1, and why not this one too? Because if I assume that this one right here is a 1, I'll be grouping basically a column of 3 ones, which is incorrect because we can only group 2, 4, and so on. So this right here will be the first group. Now let's check these 2 ones right here. What you don't want to do is definitely group them alone. We will assume right here that this x right here is a 1, because then we would be able to group 4 ones, which would minimize our function. Now here's the tricky part that you might miss. We want to group these 2 ones, okay? And you might think to yourself, I'll group them together and I'll group this one with this x right here. However, this is wrong. What you want to do is look on the other side, this one right here. You can group these 2 ones, okay, on this side, and assume that this x right here is a 1 and group all of these ones together, and there you have it. Now after we finished all of the ones, we grouped all of the ones, we leave the other don't cares that we didn't use. Now to read the disjunctive normal form, we can start from here, for example, and we check the letters. A is not changing, this is all A, it's not changing here, and it's not changing here down here, so we have A. What about B? B is definitely changing. Here we have B for this one, and the other half of the KV diagram has a B naught, so here we have B naught, so we will leave it out. What about C? C is not changing, and D is, or D naught in this case, is not changing. The next term we can get from these ones right here. A is changing, B is changing, C naught is not changing, so C naught, D is not changing. Lastly, we have the last row. C is changing, A is changing, B naught, D naught are not changing.